Welcome. So in this video here, we're going to be working through question 4, and I highly recommend that you give this a go for yourself before watching me do it, because it's a really great application style question that tests your problem solving and reasoning skill, all of which are important qualities of a method student. So let's give it a read and see how we go with it. It says, in an upright triangular prism, the triangular base has sides of length 5x centimeters, 12x centimeters, and 13x centimeters. The height of the prism is h centimeters. The sum of the lengths of all of its edges is 180 centimeters. Find h in terms of x. All right, the very first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm just going to draw for myself a triangular prism. Now it says that it's upright, but before we draw it upright, let's just draw ourselves a triangular prism so we just know what we're dealing with. Now it also says that the triangular prism, the triangle that we have, has side lengths of 5x, 12x, and 13x. Now as soon as you hear of a triangle with lengths of 5, 12, and 13, alarm bells should start going off in your head. Alarm bells. And the reason why those alarm bells are ringing is because we know the type of triangle that we're dealing with. We know the type of triangle. Now, if at the moment you're looking at those numbers and you're thinking, I have no idea what type of triangle that is, that's fine. You'll still be able to answer part A, but you won't be able to answer part B. But let's just go through part A first, and then we'll talk about part B soon. All right, so we've got an upright triangular prism. Let's just draw a triangular prism. So as I said, the triangle here, this isn't actually what it's going to look like, but for our purposes, for answering part A, it's fine. And it's going to go back. It's going to look like this. And we're going to say that this is 5x. This is 5x. We'll say that this is 12x, and we'll say that this is 13x. Now this is an upright triangular prism, so it's not actually oriented this way. It would actually look like this, because it's upright. That's what it would actually look like. But this is kind of easier just to look at for our purposes. We're also told, what are we also told here? We're told that the height of the prism is h centimeters. Now, it's important for us to realize that it's upright because the height, therefore, refers to this height right here. This is h. And that would correspond with this length here. But if you don't know it's upright, you can't do that. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do. The next thing is we're told that the sum of the length of all of its edges is 180 centimeters. So now we can actually get to answering the question. We can go 180 is going to be equal to, well, we're just going to add up all the edges. So 12x plus 5x plus 13x, then 12x plus 5x plus 13x. So we have to add all those up together. So I'm going to go 2 times 12x plus 5x plus 13x. Then I will plus onto that the h's. So that height, and that height. So that corresponds to here, here, and here. So that's going to be 3 times h, which is 3h. We can now use our CAS calculator to answer this. So let's do that. We're going to, let me move this over here. We're going to come to our CAS. We're going to come here. We're going to go menu. We're going to go algebra. We're going to go solve. Then we're going to type in what we have. It's 180 is equal to 12x plus 5x plus 13x, close my brackets, plus 3h. Now I want to solve this for h, so I go comma h, and that's what my answer is going to be, 60 minus 20x. So let me write that in, 60 minus 20, oh, that's a funny zero, 20x. Okay, that is part A done. So let's put a box around our answer there. That's how you would do it, just like that. Now, as I said, in part A here, we've actually drawn this incorrectly, but it still allowed us to get the right answer. But now when we come to part B, it says find the volume in terms of x, where v centimeters cubed is the volume of the prism. Well, I've just redrawn it here. And this is what we said it looked like above. And we said that this was going to be 5x, this was 12x, and this was 13x. Now, if we wanted to find the volume of this thing, what would we have to do? Well, you'd find the area of the triangle. And then once you've found the area of the triangle, you'd times it by h, and that would give you the volume. So volume equals area, can't spell, area of triangle times the height. So we need to find the area of this triangle, and we know the area of a triangle is base times height over 2. Well, if I look here, it looks like 13 is my base, but realize that anything here could be my base here. So let's just go 13 times 2. Now, what's my height? Well, this would be my height here. And guess what? We haven't been told that. We haven't been told what the height is. I don't know what it is. And you might say, well, maybe we can just treat another side as the base. Maybe if we go 5x down here and make this 12x and 13x, and now we can say 5x is the base. Well, that really gets us nowhere, does it? Because we still don't know what the height of this thing is. We don't know the height of this triangle. We've been given the 3 sides, but we don't know what the height is. This is a big, big problem. And the only way to resolve this problem is to be able to recognize the type of triangle this is based on the side lengths that we've been given. So as I said at the very beginning, as soon as you're told that you're dealing with a triangle with sides of 5, 12, and 13, alarm bells should start going off. And that's because you know that 5, 12, and 13, this has to be a right angle triangle. This has to be a right angle triangle. So that means the triangle that we're looking at doesn't look like this. Instead, it looks like this. These should be dotted lines as well, shouldn't they? That is the triangle that we're dealing with. It is a right angle triangle. And the only way for you to know that is for you to know that 5, 12, and 13 is a Pythagorean triple. So you need to know that 5, 12, and 13 is a Pythagorean triple. And that's just something you got to memorize. Pythagorean triple. It's something that you just got to keep in your head as you're going around. Now, this isn't the only Pythagorean triple. And what I mean by Pythagorean triple is that if I went 5 squared plus 12 squared, that's equal to 13 squared. So that means I could have a triangle that looks like this. So this would be 12. 13 has to be the bigger one, doesn't it? It has to be the bigger one. And then 5 is over here because the hypotenuse is always the biggest one. And this is a right angle. Or if you wanted, it could look like this. This could be 12. This could be 13. This could be 5, 12, 13. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, when we come to find the area of this thing, base times height, it's going to be 12 and 5. 5 and 12, same thing. So we don't know exactly what this thing looks like, but we definitely know that it's a right angle triangle. It could be this or it could be this. But at the end of the day, so let's just say this is 5, 12, and 13. And remember, this is x. Don't forget those x's. And you might be thinking to yourself, do these x's change anything? And in fact, it doesn't, because even if you were to take multiples of 5, 12, and 13, they're all still Pythagorean triples as well. I might link a video to this video, so in the description, about what Pythagorean triples are and just more of a discussion about them. So this is divided by 2, but needless to say, these are more Pythagorean triples. So 3, 4, and 5, 3 squared plus 4 squared is 5 squared, 5, 12, and 13, 8, 15, and 17, 7, 24, 25. So this question really relies upon you memorizing these. And if you haven't memorized them, you wouldn't be able to do this question. You just need to be look at these numbers and say, hey, these are Pythagorean triples. So that's kind of the kicker of this question. All right, so we can now figure out what this is going to be. It's going to be 5x times 12x divided by 2. So we can come up here and we can go 5x times 12x divided by 2. Let me just partition this off a bit. We'll then times that by h. Times that by h. And we know what h is, don't we? We found that up above. H was 60 minus 2x. Make sure you put that in brackets. All right, we come over here and let's just type in what we have here. So I know that the volume is going to be, control this, 5x times 12x over 2 multiplied by 60 minus 2x. It's going to be that. So v of x, the volume in terms of x, is going to be negative 60x squared x minus 30. Now the CAS always likes to take the negative out. The answer in the back of the book, let me just have a look. I have a feeling it wouldn't be negative. Okay, so the answer in the back of the book is just a tad different. It's the same thing, but what they've done is they've gone, oh, have I typed this incorrectly? Oh, whoops. Lucky I looked at the back of the book there. I typed that in wrong. This should be 20. Don't do that in a test. Sorry about that. This should be 600. So make sure you type things incorrectly. Otherwise, things go very, very wrong. So that's what the answer is. And the back of the book has this as a positive, but nothing really changes. That just switches with that. So the CAS always liked to take the negative out. But that's the answer. So make sure that was very lucky. This is 20x. Please don't be like me. Make sure that you're just copying it down. Can you imagine? We did all this great thinking, and then at the end of the day, not putting in that 20, putting in a 20 instead of a 2 would have undid all of that. All right, so we now have, that's what this question wanted. It wanted us to get the volume in terms of x, and there it is. We have found volume in terms of x for that. Perfect, and that's the kind of all the hard parts of this question done. The rest of this question is nice and straightforward. It's just find v when x is 3, find the volumes of x for which v is equal to 1200, and we'll do those, but just so you know, the tricky part of this question was doing what? Recognizing what a triangular prism is, recognizing that it's upright, recognizing that the h refers to this, and then the most tricky of all was realizing that when you're given 5, 12, and 13, that's a Pythagorean identity, and it expected you to know that it's a right angle triangle, and once you know it's a right angle triangle, you know what your base and height is going to be. You divide that by 2, and then you times that with that, and you can get the volume. Needless to say, without that, without realizing what a Pythagorean triple is, it's impossible. Sorry, Pythagorean triple. Without realizing that, you can't do this question. So it's probably in your best interest just to memorize these. You know, you never know. You know, they might not be useful this year, but who knows? Maybe next year in year 12, they'll come up. So maybe not useful this year, but they might be useful some other time. All right, let's answer these last few questions here. It says find v when x is equal to 3. So I would come over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to define v of x. Remember to define, you go control this. I can then go up, take that, and just bring it down. Now that's defined. Now I can just go v of 3, and my answer is going to be 0. So when v is 3, I get a volume of 0. I don't need to explain that or anything, so we'll just leave it. And then find the values of x for which v is 1200. So that's a solve menu, algebra, solve. V of x, v of x is equal to 1200. Solve that for x. All right, so I've got a negative and 2 positives. Well, I can't have a negative value, can I? So it's just going to be x is equal to 1, or x is equal to the square root of 3 plus 1. Ignore negative. Because think about it, a negative wouldn't make any sense when we're talking about measurement. All right, that's all we had to do there. So this and this, and that's it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this question. As I said, it's a good application thinking type question. Hopefully you gave it a go before you watch me do it. If you've got any questions, let me know. But otherwise, I'll see you later.